get into it here. All right. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for February 26th, 2020. Q's up just 0.5%. Closed at the lows yesterday and tried to rally in the morning, but did give it back here going into the afternoon. SPY actually down 1/3% here. Okay, so Q's and SPY ended up acting just as we thought it would. Okay, multiple bars down on the follow through on the bearish bias. Expected to get a bit of a rally in response, but expect rallies to get sold, right? That was the expectation going into this morning. Okay, bearish bias, but we are down quite a bit, expecting to see a bounce, but expect the bounce to get sold. So there it is. There is the hourly sell setup in the Qs and the SPY. Okay, so now that we've gotten this retest into the lows, SPY even got underneath the lows. Okay, and we are down as much as we are in just the past week off the highs here. Okay, what to look forward to going into tomorrow. Okay, and for me, the line in the sand is going to be right here. It's going to be today's high, which also is the hourly sell setup. Okay, so on the Qs here, that's going to be 220.30, and on the SPY here, it's going to be over 318.11. Okay, that's where we're going to need to break. Okay, tomorrow, if we are going to transition out of this hourly downtrend because we have a sell setup right there, all right, we break over that. That is breaking the hourly downtrend. Now, does it make us bullish? Okay, if we break over this pivot, it only negates the bearish bias. So we're maintaining the bearish bias going into tomorrow, okay, until we take out this pivot. Okay, well, if we take out this pivot, I expect neutral. Okay, I mean, we could take it out and just go on a tear back up, and maybe, you know, this weekly starts to recover and ends up being a higher low or something like that. That's not going to be the expectation. Could happen. My expectation is that we're going to be bearish going into tomorrow until we take this out. Once we take that out, going to be neutral. Okay, so, you know, more likely neutral to bearish going into tomorrow, but we'll see. Okay, market is staying pretty weak. Okay, so for the time being, still expecting more follow through to the downside. But before we get any kind of bearish bias or bullish bias, or expect any kind of significant rally, I'm going to have to see this hourly downtrend end. Okay, much in the same way through all of this, the times that we were bearish, right, were when the hourly broke here, when the hourly broke here during the uptrend, and it was telling us, signaling to us, right, that the uptrend was starting to lose steam. Okay, same thing. We're going to have to see this pivot, today's high, get taken out, okay, before we can form any kind of bullish bias. So that will be the first kind of line in the sand if bulls are going to take back control. So that will be what we'll be watching for tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to maintain the bearish bias. Okay. All right. Today, only one call from me. I thought it was a pretty kind of sloppy morning. The favorite gap downs for me were the DY was the favorite gap down, and the SUPN. Those were the two favorite gap downs that I was willing to play in the morning, but I thought both of them were too thin. Both of them were too thin, and DY especially too spready. I liked TJX as the favorite gap up. I thought it was a pretty nice gap up here, but never gave a setup. So liked the gap a lot. Didn't give me an entry. So you can see that first bar, just big topping tail, and then came in. So there was no kind of showing of strength whatsoever to the gap. So there was no play to be had there on the TGX. So the only play here, which didn't come up until almost lunchtime, was this SBGI. Okay, so we'll go over what I liked about this SBGI here. Okay, SBGI, not a big gap, but continuing the weakness here on the weekly, monthly, looking like it's got in a pretty significant top that I put in there last year, and was showing a lot of weakness. Remember how if you were here this morning, we did see the Qs kind of start off with a rally, put it in a buy setup there, and then actually got to target on the buy setup, right? And what was the SPGI doing? No concern whatsoever for the market. Now, I didn't play it this morning. Like I said, we didn't really get this setup that I liked until near lunchtime, right? 11:30 there. Broke down right there. The numbers were 2480. I want to give it a little bit of room underneath 84. 2480 by 2515. The top of this was 2531. I was using this lower high here at 2513. Okay, that was the play there. Basically playing this base breakdown after a sell setup. I like the 15 too, the way that it looked on the sell setup right here. So if you guys are familiar with sell setups, now, at this time of day, I don't expect the 15 to be at the 20 MA. It's like too early for that. But I like when the larger time frame also is just a nice, recognizable, clean looking pattern there. Okay, on the SPGI at the 20 MA. Would have been nicer if it kind of did the setup underneath the 20 MA, but that's getting really, really picky, okay? And so that was the entry here. Now, it definitely got to target. Target was low of the day. You can see 24.20 is what I put down there. Target 2 is going to be end of the day. So as you know, trade like this, I like to trail and off the hourly and then try to hold them till end of the day, unless they get to 4 Rs. Then I just take them. But here's the thing on this one, and this is going to come up, I expect, even more as we continue lower, if we continue lower in the broader market, is that I did not get filled. Okay, now, I mean, this thing did 4.9 million shares today. So it's not an issue of it's illiquid. It's because it's on an uptick. Okay, and there's a few cents spread here and there, and then once it kind of dropped pretty significantly there, all the way to 60 pretty quickly. I remember, I think it was at 62 when I took my order down. And so it's the uptick. You gotta get filled on uptick, and especially if it's gonna start the move early, right? Or start the move right off the bat there. Then a lot of times that first bar, that triggers, is gonna be bigger, right? So what do we do when that happens? Okay, so here's kind of the important takeaway I think from this. The play, fine. The play is pretty standard. Okay, weak item, does a sell setup and then a breakdown. This is stuff we play every day. But when they're on an uptick, you don't get filled. There's two things that you want to do, okay, that you can do. As it comes back up, you can look to get it on kind of any kind of confirmed weakness. So I could have gotten filled like as soon as this turned into a green bar. I could have got filled here. That's fine. What I prefer to do is, instead of getting filled as it's going the other way of what my expected play is to be, is after it does this move up, as soon as it starts to roll back over, use that as your entry. So you could be getting it like here, in which case it's a little late, but not that late. Okay, so because the worst is when, okay, you didn't get filled, starts to move up, and then you get filled here, and then the next thing you know, right, it's still going up higher. So what I like to see is let it move back up, and then once it starts to kind of move back down again, you can do it on a 2 or a 5. As soon as it breaks the previous bar's low, all right, now you're trying to get it again. Okay, so that's one of two ways. Number 2, okay, is play it as another entry. Okay, if it sets up, look at what it did here. Okay, and I gave this to the room as an idea too. If you want to, if you didn't get filled in the other play, you can play it here. Now you could have done it this as a base right here, right? So here's the entry when it breaks 60, and then stop can be here. You want to go crazy, put the stop at here, at 75 or something. That's would have been absolute monster play. Okay, but I think here, good enough. Okay, you got a nice pivot to work with. All right, you got a nice base here to confirm the entry, right? And then, okay, you're in there, and then good to go. Okay, so just know it's gonna happen sometimes. It's easy for us to get frustrated because we don't get filled where we want to get filled, right? But if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, do we do everything we can to get in the play? And even when it sets up again and gives us an opportunity to play it, right, were we willing to do it? So, that's the kind of thing I expect, especially if market continues lower, you're gonna run into this, okay? Because a lot of things are gonna get to being down 10% or more pretty quickly at the open. And so if you're still looking to play things later into the morning, a lot of things are gonna be on an uptick. A lot of things will be gapping, so they'll be on an uptick right off the bat, okay? So it's kind of comes with the territory of the way that we take these plays, right? We take these entries because it's been setting up. And the reason that we use these entries is because something eventful is happening. And it's more likely that when the play triggers, that's when the move is going to happen. I mean, look at the play that James called, TAST, right? This base breakdown, of course, when this base breaks, the move is going to get started. But I mean, that's the reason that we're not, say you like this TAST short, we're not getting it after multiple bars down and then having to sit through all this. Sometimes, you'll get in something and it won't go right away. But the benefit, the addition of the legitimate base here, right, when it breaks down, right, is when it's gonna get going, is when you're gonna get this. So especially for those of us that struggle with management, sometimes we get impatient with the play because it's not as at target as fast as we wanted it to, right? And so if you have the tendency to not be patient, to get out of plays too early, or you start to doubt the play and you get out of it, and the next thing you know it's at your target, right? These entry patterns help to reduce that effect, because what we're picking on, the point in time that we're going after it, should be eventful, should be when something significant is happening. So it comes with the territory. If something significant like that is going to happen, like on the TAST, then you shouldn't be surprised that when it triggers, that it starts going in a hurry. Also, MNLO. Okay, look at here. Base, when it breaks, right away, off it goes, right? Same thing here. Okay, so it comes with the territory, so it's something we got to be prepared for, okay, and know how to deal with, okay? All right, so that was the only call for me on the today on that SPGI. Like I said, I thought this morning a lot of spready stuff. At least the best gaps that I saw were also kind of spready, and so wasn't that active today. But I expect, with the market moving, with plenty of names still on the gaps list, that we'll have plenty more to do going into tomorrow. Okay? All right. So hope you did well today, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.